And welcome back to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen as we hear from the animal health experts at Mariel, as well as Justin Robbins, a cow-calf producer from Iowa. You know, we've been talking about parasites on today's program, and Dr. Tom Van Dyke, let's talk about some new strategies and if they're available for producers across the country when it comes to controlling internal parasites.
Sure, Russell. Our strategies for controlling parasites have really evolved over time. At first, and for the longest time, we focused on trying to deworm the cow, trying to get rid of the parasites in the individual cow. And then it was discovered, or we realized that we also need to control the parasites on the pasture, those infective larvae. And so we came up with the strategies called strategic deworming, which means periodic, well-placed dewormings at a time that we can try to break the parasite life cycle and try to clean up the pasture and reduce the larval numbers on the pasture. So that was a great strategy, but it took a lot of time and labor. So now with the launch of LongRange from Mariel, we actually can get the goals of the strategic deworming program completed with a single injection, a single treatment at the first of the grazing season. We can break the life cycle of the parasites and clean up the pasture.
Wow, that is some great news for producers. In fact, we have a short video that provides some additional insight on LongRange and how it works. So let's take a look.
The fight against parasites has been going on for decades. The early levamisols, benzimidazoles, and the newer avermectin chemistries are just a few of the tools producers and veterinarians have used to combat production losses from parasites. These days, rotational grazing and strategically timed deworming treatments are also common management recommendations. But the real problem is that as soon as conventional dewormers wear off, cattle are being reinfected by parasite larvae already on the pasture. In the past, there's never been a single product that controlled parasites long enough to break this cycle and make a real difference in the number of parasites on the pasture. But now, there's LongRange, with up to 100 to 150 days of parasite control in a single treatment. After the initial injection, the unique TheraPhase technology in LongRange releases the product into the bloodstream over an extended period of time. That gives you the power to break the parasite life cycle and actually reduce the number of infective parasites on the pasture. It's the first product in a new category of parasite control. One spring treatment that gives you the benefit of strategically timed treatments throughout the grazing season without the additional labor and stress caused by multiple applications. Nematode larvae have no problem overwintering on the pasture, even in the coldest regions. They're waiting to infect cattle as soon as they are turned out. The eggs shed during the last grazing season become infective larvae that overwinter on the pasture. Once the weather begins to warm, infective larvae travel up grass stems and are ingested by grazing cattle. After these larvae are ingested, it can take a few weeks for them to mature into egg-laying adults. Those adult parasites begin producing millions of eggs that pass with feces onto the pasture, where the cycle begins again. The same thing happens during hot, dry periods of the summer. Parasite larvae move back underground to stay protected. This happens about the same time that the grass stops growing. Once the weather improves and the grass begins growing again, parasite larvae come back out, ready to be ingested. It's important to understand this cycle of dormancy and infectivity because this initial wave of nematodes early in the grazing period is what creates a big increase in parasite pressure later in the season. To break this cycle of parasite infection and reinfection, it takes about 100 days of continuous parasite control. Thanks to the unique TheraPhase technology, a single spring treatment with LongRange controls parasites for up to 100 to 150 days. When treated for that long, the herd functions like a filter for parasites. As cattle graze, they pick up infective larvae, which are then killed when exposed to LongRange. those larvae never develop into adults, so the number of parasite eggs being shed back onto the pasture starts to drop. Over the course of 100 to 150 days, this effect can dramatically decrease levels of infective larvae on the pasture, and that can add up to real performance benefits for your herd. Parasite control is one of the most important management decisions you make each season. According to a well-publicized study by Iowa State, parasite control can make a difference of $201 per head in break-even costs. Most of those gains come from improvements in reproduction, but that's not the only part of your operation that benefits. Calf weaning weights have been shown to dramatically improve as a result of good parasite control. More efficient average daily gains, early calving, and earlier weight gains are all possible with better parasite control. Because when you control the parasites in your pasture, you can get more gain out of your pasture. And with LongRange, you get all those performance benefits with less labor, less stress, and without the shrink caused by multiple handlings, because one treatment in spring continues to work for up to 100 to 150 days. Before LongRange, it would take multiple treatments throughout the season to make a real difference in parasite pressure and reap the benefits. But the unique TheraPhase technology in LongRange allows the active ingredient to enter the bloodstream over an extended time frame. It's the only drug that has this unique formulation, and it's only available in LongRange. This TheraPhase technology gives you up to 100 to 150 days of parasite control with a single spring treatment. Conventional dewormers can't offer the level of persistent control of LongRange. And unlike previous long-acting products, LongRange is a single, easy-to-administer injection of 1 milliliter per 110 pounds of body weight. More convenience, more persistent activity, and unique TheraPhase technology for extended release. That's what makes LongRange the ultimate parasite solution. Talk to your Mariel sales representative or veterinarian. Visit thelongrangelook.com for prescribing information. Or call 1-888-637-4251 for more information. Don't treat within 48 days of slaughter, not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage, such as granulomas and necrosis, can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment.